It's been 2 months, but it still hurts. Is that on the 15th of March is when Star passed. She lived up to be 14 and a half years old, but every day I'm still reminded of her. It doesn't help with the fact that I got Maverick, who is a German Shepherd, that I got Maverick because I thought that Star was going to pass last year. So in preparation, I adopted Maverick to make it easier for me for myself. But even then, is that she lived up for another year, which was good. And then that final week, it was just getting harder and harder. And then she mainly passed in her sleep. That her body just gave up after just after a long morning. Is that I was able to say goodbye to her one last time before I went to work. Is that she passed on several hours later while I was at work. And the thing was that I knew, like, it really, really hit me that on that day, I was actually gonna schedule an appointment to lay her to rest. Just, I just knew something was wrong. So, in preparation, I was just gonna go to the shelter to schedule an appointment, but he beat me to it. And on that same day, that was when I dropped her off at the shelter so that she could get cremated. And I have her ashes. It still hurts. No amount of time would prepare me for this. The only thing that also kind of sucked is that they misspelled her name when I actually went up to pick up her ashes the next week after. Instead of Star, they wrote Scar. And they asked me, is it Scar? I was like, no, her name was Star. I was like, okay, so we do not have it, but check again next week type of deal. So I did. But it turned out it was just a typo. So all this time they actually did have it. And all in all, like, yeah, it sucked that it was a typo, but in the end, at least I got her ashes back. So it's mainly in this box right here. It's just it's just another thing. So later on, is that I wasn't really at that right state of mind when I dropped off her body there. Is that I did wanted to get an urn, like a specialized urn. So I went up to Amazon to go buy one. It was customizable type of deal that you get to do an image, you get to put whatever you want to put on the box, and just mainly that they'll ship it to you. So on the 31st of March, that's when I did it. And later on, that the package was actually shipped to another state and it just stayed there. So there was nothing I could do about it. I tried to go through the whole thing about claiming and whatnot. It just wouldn't let me. I had a message to seller like, "Hey, there's been a mishap where it got shipped over there and nothing is happening. There's no updates or anything." Luckily, they were sympathetic. They apologized and they were going to send me a new replacement. And another 2 weeks later, I finally got the replacement that it finally arrived on May 4th. So I waited pretty much a whole month before I was able to get the package. And this is what it is that it looks nice. There's Star, there's her name, the day she was born, and the day she passed. It's beautiful, honestly. Here's once again as I collect myself that never forgotten and always remembered. Thank you for being a part of our lives. Thing is that you actually have to unlatch it from the bottom so that you could actually put the ashes inside, but I feel like that I don't need to do that, at least for the time being. Like, Maybe eventually I'll actually get to do it because I just don't want to break it. I really don't want to break it at all because I love it. I love the image. I love the pretty much the sentiment of the whole entire thing. That's why I wanted to get this. It's kind of like more of a actual picture. Like I also have another urn, or really not really much of an urn, but it's like a shadow box that I was able to put her leash and her collar and things like that. It looks very nice. That I could go grab it real quick. That eventually I'm gonna get a little picture, but there's her a leash, her name, a little bit of a bottle to have her a little bit of fur in there. So I was able to do all that. I just got to get a picture. So pretty much I'm gonna have like a little bit of a little area to put everything together. At least I could actually put the ashes in the shadow box and put it right there, and then put this urn on top of it that has her name and everything on there too. So I kind of did went overboard with the whole thing, but I was in the grieving process of it all. It's just I wanted to make it something special, really. That I even also in in my state of mind, I actually went ahead and bought a little bit of a German Shepherd Lego set type of deal, even though it wasn't officially Lego, but it was something like Lego. But even then, I was able to make this. The instructions, however, was just a little bit convoluted. So is that it's just kind of one of those things. Like I even went on to get a Lego set, and the Lego set was easier to decipher, but this one was a little bit harder because of the whole thing about perspective and things like that, which made it a little bit more difficult. I shown a little bit of pictures in my Discord, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's a little bit confusing," but even then, it's still nice. It's just so nice just to have this now. He has a little bit of a moving mouth and everything. The only problem was is that the the paw actually fell over and it actually broke on the inside right here. So I'm gonna have to super glue all that together. Like it does not stick well. Like it just falls off easily. So you just got to be real gentle with this. So this is gonna be like kind of like on top of the urn type of deal. So it's kind of like a little statue right there. And as I say that, it fell again. Oh well. As I said, no amount of time could actually help you prepare for it. Is that you know it's gonna happen. You don't want it to happen, and you wish it didn't happen. But I was able to at least give Star just a good life. There are a lot of regrets. There's a lot of guilt. Because mainly I was just been doing a lot of work for the night shifts. It's just the day would just be way too hot to be able to really go outside. And then, of course, I'm already at work for the night shifts as I spent majority of my life just doing lots of night shifts. And then when I finally got to be able to do the morning shifts, that was when I was able to be able to bring Star to the park every day. That I really haven't really missed any days unless that it was closed or that it was just raining and things like that. But I was able to take her to the park every single day. That she was able to walk around, she was able to lay down, she was able to at least say hello to the people who went to the park as well. Is that they knew her, they know her, they love the fact that even though she was old, but she kept on going and telling people all the bad news about that when she passed. Yeah, it still hurts. Yeah, a few people even cried. It's like that's the empathy that is kind of rare for some days. Like a lot of people just pass it off. Like, yeah, it sucks. But when people actually truly show empathy, that was just one of those things that it reminds me that there's still good in humanity. At first, it caught me off guard, but then I remembered that I'm also empathetic with animals as well. As someone tells me some bad news about their pets, I feel it too. And I feel it even more going through what happened with Star. is that I still have all the great memories with Star. Her as a puppy, her growing up, her learning how to sit, how to shake. One of my favorite memories is just that we had a cowbell, and if she wanted to go outside, she would actually ring the cowbell. But then we didn't want her to be outside when she already went outside. We would just be just sitting, like I would be sitting in my room. My parents would be sitting in their bedroom, and then all of a sudden we would hear the cowbell ringing. It's like Star wanted to go outside, but it's like, no, you already went outside. You don't need to go outside again. After a while, we actually had to get rid of the cowbell, and instead we actually got a little bit like a bell. Well, we got a different type of bell. It wasn't too loud. It was just like a, I don't even know how to describe it really. Just think of it as like a little belt, and it had just bells all around it. Like it goes all the way from the top to the bottom type of deal. He would ring that. It wasn't as loud, so it was fine. And then after a while, we got rid of it because it was just getting scratched up and everything. But even then, that was just still funny to know that she was intelligent enough to know how to ring the bell. Is that whenever I would bring her outside to the front yard, she would never really leave the area of our front yard. She would actually patrol the area and then get back to where she needed to go. And then as she grew older and older and older, that's pretty much her routine. Is that even at 14 years old, when I let her out to go to the front to go pee, that she would just go around the sidewalk and then come right around the area, come back, and then that was it. It's just she was very smart up until the end. Part of me wanted to make this video because I wanted to have it to help me move on, but at the same time, is that I don't think I'll ever move on, and that's okay because she was already with me for a better half of my life because I got her at 19 years old. So 14 years later, I'm already 33. So 14, that is still a very long time. Because German Shepherds, they live up to anywhere between 10 to 12 years old. The fact that she went on to 14, that was really impressive. A lot of people also complimented Star that she lived up to be that, and she's still moving. But it's just, I don't know what else to say. That I do have regrets and I do have guilt that I was not able to really spend as much time with her as I wanted to because of the night shifts. Is that because I would always be working all the time, that the day would be just way too hot just to be able to really walk around, and I would always have to be working at the later nights as well. So when I finally got the morning shifts, that was when I was able to turn everything around to be able to take her to the park every single day. That I haven't really missed a single day other than if the park was closed for maintenance or if the weather was just so bad that I couldn't go. But other than that, I just really haven't missed a day. So I was able to make up for lost times in that regard. But it's still crazy to think that it's been 14 years since I got her as a puppy. That for at least a good 3 years, I was making videos every single week just to see her grow, and as well as to make a vlog just to talk about Star and things like that. I'm still learning, honestly, that, that with Maverick, he's pretty much a handful. That I don't even know his backstory or how he grew up. That I didn't really get to see him grow from a little puppy to the big dog he is. Because you've seen the video, if you actually saw the video of the anniversary that I got Star, or the anniversary I got Maverick, that he's a big dog and he's really reactive at points too. So that was one of the things that I really got to stay on top of, just to let him know, like, hey, it's okay. You don't need to be like that. You don't need to charge at other dogs. That he is reactive. That on one walk is that one of the dogs was actually going to try to go after after Maverick, or at least probably, I would, I would say that because the way he was acting, that he was actually just looking to charge at one of us, but then Maverick actually responded the same way, like, "Oh, I'm a big dog. I'm gonna go pounce on you," type of deal. It was like, "No, no, no, you're way too big for that little small dog, so you don't need to do that." But even then, is that Maverick did respect Star. Like on the very first day that I brought Maverick home from the shelter, that Star snapped at Maverick because Maverick got way too close, and Maverick's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna mess with you." That ever since then, he would avoid Star in the sense that he didn't want to mess with her in any way. That if he needed to go around Star, he would actually jump over Star. He was actually big enough to be able to do that. So I wasn't really worried about that. And even then, is that he did respect Star, so I was very happy with that. Now, on a funny note, is that Maverick loves to terrorize Mika. That Maverick is the younger brother and Mika is the older sister type of deal. So it really works out. So at least they have each other to keep each other busy. One of the things is that with Mika, that she likes to be the alpha female, and well, Star was the alpha female at that time too. So whenever they butt heads, it was kind of funny in a sense that they never really got into it. But the thing was that Star was old. That whenever Star sees Mika, like they do a little bit of a stare down, even if it's across the hallway. I think it's just Star wasn't seeing way too well, that probably was kind of like a little bit of a blur, but couldn't tell what Mika was doing. So whenever Star would show her teeth to Mika, Mika would actually respond back by doing the same thing, and then they would just start barking at each other. But they never made contact. It was just mainly all for show type of deal. That after a bit of barking, then they calmed down. But even then, it's just there are times where they did tussle a bit, and mainly that Mika does not hurt Star, but at the same time, it's like Star was still a fighter too. Like Star will defend herself or will actually protect us if she needed to. That just showed me that she still has fighting spirit in her. The mind is a great and as well as a terrible thing to have. That, for instance, the very day that Star died is like I knew it in my heart that something was wrong. So I was gonna schedule the appointment for her to be put to sleep. At least I was gonna hope to do it on Wednesday so that I was able to bring her to the park for 2 more days just to say a final goodbye. But sadly, that was not the case. That she beat me to it when she passed on Sunday. So that was bad, very very bad indeed. That I was able to still pretty much hold it together as best I could to take her body to the shelter to be able to have her cremated. So there was that. Thing was is that Monday I had to go back to work, and it still sucked because I was still not in the right mindset. That I was still letting a few coworkers know here and there, and I just went through the day, but finally driving back home, that was when I also started crying as I was going home because it was just that was day one that I would not be able to say hello to Star. So there was that. Some hours have passed, and then now I was gonna get the dogs ready to go to the park because they still need to get their exercise. And then it hit me once again that that was the first day that I would not have been able to bring Star to the park. So I was crying a bit when I was driving to the park with Star and Maverick. No, sorry, Mika and Maverick. See how bad it is? See how, like I said, the mind is a great and terrible thing? But even then, that the dogs were having their fun, they're all playing and things like that. Well, I was still in a depressed mood. justifiably, just it was just understandably that I was still not in a great mindset, but I had to let their dog, or at least have the dogs, have their day at the park to be able to just run around and have fun and things like that, get their exercise so they could sleep better at night. So that, of course, we have all the park goers, even though we were all strangers that we really don't know each other's names half the time, but we were still a community, a little small community that we know each other's dogs, we know each other, that we're there pretty much every day or every other week type of deal. Is that they had every right to know what happened to Star. So for everyone that I already knew, I was telling them that Star sadly passed away. So it was very hard to say it, but it did get a little bit easier, a little bit easier, a little bit easier to tell people, even though it still hurts every time I have to bring it up. But it was getting slightly easier just to say that Star unfortunately passed. But still, it's just something that I will never forget. Like, it's still going to be ingrained in my mind till the day I died, or till the day I die. I'm just all over the place with this video, but it's just kind of helping me cope with all this too. But one thing I'll never forget is her bark. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to make that video too when I put it up as a short. That you saw Star as a young puppy barking, and then you see her old barking as well. It's just, that is something. It's something that I'll never hear again. Although, I will always hear it here. That's never gonna go away. I will always remember it. I will always hear it. I can hear it right now. I can even hear it when she was at the park as well. I'm really grateful for that. I'm happy that I will never forget it. And if I ever need a reminder, at least an audio reminder, I could always go back to the video on YouTube. That I'll always hear it. And it'll always be something to help me. Mainly because that I know that I did everything I could to help her, to raise her, to make her happy. That also, just as a little bit of a side tangent for the terrible mind, is that for whatever reason, I also, let me try and remember what day it was. I'll have to yeah, I would have to say Thursday really. For whatever reason, after a long day of work, I come home, I walk inside to the living room, and then I walk to the hallway. For whatever reason, in my mind, I thought that Star would be there, that I would see Star. It's kind of like more or less like I saw a ghost of Star. That I honestly expected to see her right at the hallway on a bed that she would always sleep in. I would see her again. And when I didn't, it hit me again. It was one of the other reasons why mine is a very terrible mindset type of deal. Or whatever. It could be terrible at times. I even asked my father, "Is like, is this normal?" And he says, yeah. Because when pretty much my father would tell me that when his friends died, he would actually try to call him. And he would remember, like, oh no, what am I doing? They're dead. I can't call them. But it's just one of those things. Is like sometimes it takes a bit to realize that they're gone. They're not forever gone because it would still live in your heart. And you would still remember everything about them, but physically they're gone type of deal. And even then, to this day, it still hurts. It doesn't help the fact that YouTube is also recommending me videos of other people's dogs who have passed. But when I read the comments, it was also comforting to know that a lot of people are going through the same thing. They'll tell you their stories. They'll say it's going to hurt for a while and it will never go away. But that's also a reminder that you love them very much, that you won't forget them. And after reading all the comments, it's good to know that the pain I'm feeling is just a good reminder that that is how much I love Star. That it's still going to hurt and it's going to hurt for a while still. It could probably hurt years from now because I'm constantly reminded about Star, that I could call her my childhood dog. Even though I never really had a dog to call my own, she was the one to call my own, the very first one. And then I raised her from a small puppy at 9 weeks old, and 9 to 10 weeks old, up until the dog that she was until March 15th. And it's still a bittersweet moment because that March 15th is also Mika's birthday. So Star passed on Mika's birthday, and in a sense, Star passed on the torch to Mika. That now she's the alpha female of the house. That she's the one in charge. So that was Star's gift to Mika. And all the dogs, they're doing well, because the one thing is, as morbid as it is, that they have to see the body. They know. They're not dumb. They know something is off. And if you don't give them that closure, then a lot of times the dogs will search for that body that's no longer there. And one thing is that I believe Mika actually searched for Star one last time. I say that because I carried Star's body through the backyard, put her onto the truck to take her to the shelter to be cremated, and her scent was still in the backyard. So Mika smelled something and started like walking to where the smell was coming from. So, in a sense, that she did get her closure, even though she did see the body once, but she got her closure a second time, knowing that Star was no longer there. But still, I don't know how long it will take, but I just wanted to share this with you guys. That if you guys are if you guys are going through the same thing, just know that you did your best. You gave them a good life that they could ever ask for, and they always love you. Is that they have loved you as always the day that you got them, and as well as that they loved you to the very end of their life. That you did give them everything they could have ever asked for, that you took care of them, and you've always loved them as well too. It's gonna hurt. Time will slowly heal everything, but just remember that pain, that hurt, is also a reminder that you loved them that much that you don't want to forever forget them. I don't know how else to close off this video, but I want to say that I'm just happy that she came home to us. That I may scatter her ashes around the park because that was her favorite place to be. Even at old age, she was very energetic, or at least that she showed very much enthusiasm to go to the park, that she wanted to go with us every time that I got Mika and Maverick on a leash, just ready to go. She wanted to join us. So that alone made it all worth it to bring her to the park every single day as well. Up until the final week where she was struggling to get up. That even then, she also wanted to go to the park too, but that that week, it was just not. Her body just didn't want to keep up anymore. But even then, I'm also happy how this turned out. Is that the picture I sent was very accurate to what they put onto the box here, how they engraved it and everything. It was very, very accurate. So with Star, that she was born on August 22nd of 2011. I got her at 9 weeks old, and she sadly passed on the 15th of March of 2026. That every Mika's birthday would also be a reminder that it was also Star's passing. As morbid as it is, it's just Star is always gonna keep passing the torch onto Mika, so that would always be her present. But yeah, as always, never forgot and always loved. Thank you for being a part of our lives. So once again, thank you, Star, for everything. And as always, I loved you. I will always love you. And just thank you for everything, Star.